we should be live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Nathan But Net, episode 10. We are in the double digits today. As the video watchers may be able to tell, yes, I do have the Spurs blanket right next to me. That's because I'm not going to spend too much time explaining this so we can get into the actual basketball talk, but y'all know I used to have the whiteboards here, and school's going to be starting back up soon, so I'm going to have some stuff for school on those whiteboards, and I didn't want it to be seen on camera. And also, so I wanted to cover it up, and then also this adds kind of like a cool background right here rather than just the whiteboards. It's something more interesting to look at as well, so it's kind of a win-win. Y'all don't have to see my whiteboards, and I don't show y'all my whiteboards. And instead we get the Spurs logo right next to me. We are starting a little bit later than usual. That is because Fernando was originally supposed to be here, but I won't go too much into detail with this because like, if he wants to talk about it, he can talk about it. But he had surgery recently, and he's fine. He's all right. But he basically said that him coming on today is going to depend on when and how much meds they give him because of him coming out of surgery a couple days ago. And they gave him meds like just an hour or two to go, so he's like out. So he told me, yeah, he's not gonna be able to make it today. And that's all I'm really gonna say about that. Because he said as well that even if he did come on today, that he wasn't gonna talk about the surgery, like he doesn't want to talk about it for whatever reason, which I respect. So, but just know he's okay, and he's just kind of chilling in bed right now. Now, for loser of the week this week, we have the Pelicans. I will explain why in a bit, because we are going to get into free agency, because I know that's what a lot of people want to talk about. But there's still a lot going on with free agency. So with free agency, we're just kind of break it down into the big three, that being the Spurs, the Lakers, and the Bulls. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Pelicans, a little bit about the Sixers, and that'll be it for free agency. And then like next week, and going on, we'll talk a little bit more about free agency then, and we'll do our what we did on the very first episode of Nathan But Net, back when it was still called Plus 71, which is give our ratings for the free agency and draft picks, giving them like A to F grades and that. But I'm gonna wait a little bit longer for some more free agency stuff to happen, because we still have a long time for free agency, and hopefully as well Fernando will be there then, so he can grade. He can give his thoughts on free agency and the draft, and he can give his playoff predictions, just like I'm going to in this episode. So loser of the week, like I said, I have the Pelicans. They got Devontae Graham and Jonas V. Excuse me. Oh, had to hiccup there for a second. But as we all know, most notably, they lost Lonzo Ball, they lost Eric Bledsoe, they lost Steven Adams, and really the only person that they have left right now is Zion. And okay, sorry for the little silence there, guys. My stream was giving me like some pop-ups. I wanted to make sure it was working correctly. I think we're good. So, yeah, the Pelicans lost a lot of players. They got Devontae Graham now. They're still trying to find a piece to go with Zion. That's been like their main thing that they're driving towards. I think I really think that y'all should have kept Lonzo, but obviously if Lonzo wanted to leave, then you can't really do much about that except for offer him more money. But what you got is what you got. So Lonzo left, and I saw as well that if the Pelicans don't do well this year, which I don't think they will, there's a lot of talk about Zion getting traded. If Zion gets traded, that's the if Zion gets traded in the coming years, that's a wrap for the Pelicans. Unless they like trade Zion for some other All-Stars, that's a wrap for the Pelicans. Like they're gonna be bottom of the division, or bottom of the conference, I meant to say. If Zion leaves, they're gonna be looking like the Pistons this last year, where they're just, yeah. So that's why I have the Pelicans as loser of the week, because y'all lost too many of your players, and obviously Zion is still there this year, but if he's not there next year, y'all fucked. So yeah, that's all I got for the Pelicans. So let's go through, like I said, basically my personal big three for free agency. Besides the Heat, we'll talk about the Heat next episode probably. So San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs, obviously I keep up with a lot. They are my team. The Bucks, I know I've talked about the Bucks a lot, but the Bucks are kind of like my side team. You know, like you got your main chick and then your side piece. No, I'm playing. But that kind of is like how it is though with me and the Bucks. It's like and any sports player like knows this, is like sometimes if your team isn't doing well, you kind of like start having a second team that you root for, so you can still feel like you're involved. And the Bucks became that for me back in like 2014, 2015. And like I started watching Giannis like grow as a player. So the Bucks came sort of like my side team, and that's why I get excited whenever the Bucks win, because like the Bucks are my like number 2 team, but my number 1 team is always going to be the San Antonio Spurs. Anyway, kind of off topic there, but for it's just for people that are wondering like why I like sometimes I talk about the Spurs a lot, sometimes I talk about the Bucks a lot. It's because I support both teams. That's why I have basically the equal amount of Spurs and Bucks stuff behind me, but mainly Spurs stuff because I live in San Antonio. I'm from San Antonio, and that's how it is. You always got to root for the home team. So the San Antonio Spurs lost almost all of our star players. In fact, I'm not even going to say almost. San Antonio Spurs lost all of their stars. However, I think that's a good thing. And everybody listening or watching right now is like, whoa. You lost Rudy Gay, Patty Mills, and DeMar DeRozan, and you think that's a good thing? Yes. Let me explain. Okay? We lost all 3 of those great players. Patty Mills I'm most devastated about because Patty Mills was my fucking guy. He was the, he was the Australian homie. He always brought good vibes, He's one of like the very few or basketball players I follow on Instagram because he has the freaking vibes. And I just realized that I don't have my freaking logos playing right now. Alright, give me just a second, guys. I'm going to try and figure this out. But while I'm trying to figure it out, I'm going to also... okay, there we go. Now it's fixed for some reason. I wanted my... for y'all watching on video, I wanted my... my platforms and social medias in the bottom right, and I noticed that they weren't, so it looked a little off just having a blank space there. Okay, back on topic. I'm sorry, guys. I keep going on little tangents and having to fix elements of the stream. I know for audio listeners it's probably a little weird right now that I keep like breaking my sentences up and stuff, but stream's been acting kind of weird for recording this live, so I had to fix it real quick. But the Spurs, I'll just repeat what I was saying. So the stream of consciousness is more fluid. We lost Patty Mills, we lost DeMar DeRozan, we lost Rudy Gay. However, I'm still happy with the outcome, and the reason for that is because we got Jock Landale, and if we look at his stats real quick, he's another Australian man, kind of taking Patty Mills' position, not position on the court, but he taking his place as the Australian is what I'm trying to say. So he averages about 24, 25 minutes per game in the Euro League, and in those 24, 25 minutes, he's averaging 13 to 14 points. So, efficient scorer, and not only that, he's a center. Now, I don't think that I need to repeat for the millionth time why I love that. I have said it probably, I think on the last 3 episodes in a row, I've talked about big men. So I'm not going to go on a rant about big men again. But thank God the Spurs now have a good center. Jock Landale, such an amazing pickup for the Spurs. And I only talked about his points, but, I mean, you can look at his career in Australia. I'll just read through the stat line here. Averaged 27 minutes a game, 1.5 blocks, and then almost 8 rebounds. And his 3-point percentage is almost at 40. I mean, how much more solid can you get? I think that's an amazing pick. Spurs getting a center. It says in a stat line here, 6'11", 256 pounds. Yeah, we needed a center bad, and I think he's going to be a perfect fit as a center for the San Antonio Spurs. We also picked up, I won't be able to pronounce his name, but I'll put it on the screen here in editing. I'm just going to call him AFA. So he averages anywhere from 30 to 15 minutes per game. But he's not an efficient scorer, to me personally, because in those 30 points or 30 to 15 minutes per game, he's only averaging about 5 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game. So he's definitely going to be probably a bench player in my opinion. But he's a forward, so that's good. We're getting another big man. Here is the big one that we picked up. Thad Young. Power forward. And let's look at his stats real quick. So he averages about 30 minutes played, and in those 30 minutes, about 14 points. So again, efficient scorer. About 0.5 blocks, and about 6 rebounds. His 3-point is 0.34, so 35, about 34%. And his field goal is 50%. We needed another big guy. He's a power forward. He's somebody that knows how to play the game. However, he is going to have to change his number now that he's in San Antonio, which will be interesting because if you look at his social medias as well, his social medias obviously have his number in there. Like his Instagram is ThadYoung21. I don't think it's a secret that in San Antonio the number 21 is retired for the great Tim Duncan, and so he will have to change his number. So I am interested to see what number he goes with now. But Thad Young, just to kind of summarize what I said, again, power forward, knows how to score efficiently, knows how to get his blocks. So, and then next we got Mr. Douglas McBuckets, as he likes to be called. So he's got 20 minutes per game. 47 field goal, 40 from 3, which is really good. And then about 3 rebounds per game and 0.1 blocks per game with 9 points. And he plays small forward, power forward. So to me, his rebounds are a little low for a big guy, only 3 rebounds per game. So he could definitely work on that. But we already have another small forward, power forward with Thad Young. So he may be efficient coming off the bench. Or we could put him at small forward and Thad Young at power forward. For the Spurs, that's really all I have. I want to talk more about the Spurs, but I mean, if I do, I'm really just going to be repeating myself. So I'm trying to think of like what else there is to say about it. We lost all of our stars, and that is disappointing to see. But in the process, we picked up big men. Big men is what we needed. And Patty Mills is going to the Nets. So Nets adding more scoring efficiency to their roster. And if you watch the Instagram videos after USA won, Patty Mills actually came up to KD, and Patty was like, I forgot exactly what Patty said, but he's like, I'm ready for Brooklyn or something like that. Like, Patty Mills is excited to play in Brooklyn. So, I don't know. He'll probably be obviously off the bench though, since they have Kyrie and Harden. But That's all I got for the Spurs. So now let's hop into probably the most controversial one, which is the Lakers. A lot of people saying Russ is a good. A lot of people saying that Russ is a good fit for the Lakers. A lot of people saying Russ isn't a good fit for the Lakers. So it's very divided, from what I've seen. Personally, I'm on the side that Russ will not work for the Lakers. And I've talked to Fernando. Fernando is also on the side that Russ will not work for the Lakers. Now, I've seen a lot of people say that Russ isn't going to work for the Lakers because of team chemistry and because of ego problems. I don't personally agree with that. Like, Russell Westbrook does have an ego. LeBron does have an ego. And they can clash. However, you look at the Instagram videos from when Westbrook was traded, him and LeBron are out, like, smoking cigars together. Like, they get along well. Not only that, but Russell Westbrook played with Harden, and Harden had a very big ego on the Rockets, and then he also came off the bench for Chris Paul. So I think Russell Westbrook will be a lot better at taking sort of a secondary role, or not even a secondary because they have AD, but a third role than people estimate. I don't think he'll have as bad of an ego problem as people think he will. However, this has been beaten into the ground. Spacing is not going to work. Russell Westbrook is probably one of the worst three shooters in the league right now. In fact, I'm going to look it up. Lowest 3-point percentage 2021. Russell Westbrook, he's not going to work for the Lakers, in my opinion. Again, the ego problem I don't think is going to be that bad. And this has been beaten into the ground. It's a spacing issue. Russell Westbrook has one of the worst 3-point shooting, and what the Lakers really need is a 3-point shooter. So I personally would have gone with somebody like Chris Paul, because before the Westbrook trade was finalized, Chris Paul was also a free agent, and then after Westbrook got signed to the Lakers, then Chris Paul signed back with the Suns. Chris Paul, I think, would have been a much better fit, even though Chris Paul probably wouldn't have taken the amount of money that the Lakers would have given him, and that's probably one of the main reasons he signed back with Phoenix is because he wants to get that check. Anyways, going back to Westbrook, though, Westbrook has like a point. He has like a 30% three. Kyle Kuzma got traded to the Wizards, and everybody was saying Kyle Kuzma couldn't shoot. And then you trade for Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is an all-star, but he still can't shoot his threes. What the Lakers really needed was a 3-point shooter, because look at the way Westbrook plays. Westbrook, his main shooting, or his main way of playing is driving through the paint. You can't, or it wouldn't be smart to do that on the Lakers because you have LeBron and AD already on your team. What you need is LeBron and AD to control the paint, and then your other starters or people on the court to kind of set a perimeter around the three. That way, if LeBron or AD get crowded in the paint, they can pass it out, and they have a shot at the 3-point line. Russell Westbrook can't do that, and That's one of the reasons, in my opinion, that Kyle Kuzma got traded is because Kyle Kuzma couldn't shoot. So then you trade for Westbrook. Westbrook is an all-star, but you essentially have the same problem. You didn't solve anything. All you did was create the same problem with a more popular player, if that makes sense. Like, Russell Westbrook's name may mean more, but in practice, it's going to be the same sort of play style and same sort of issue. And then the Lakers got a bunch of other players that I'm going to go ahead and read out that can actually help with that issue. So Russell Westbrook, as much as everybody thinks obviously he's going to start, he could be starting at the beginning of the season, but I think after a while they may start playing Westbrook less because he's not going to be what they need. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. This is what I wanted to talk about the most for the Lakers, okay? So Bleacher Report has posted this on their Instagram and their Twitter, and I want to read out what it says. These are the ages for the 2021-2022 seasons of Lakers, okay? Melo is 37, Braun is 36, Gasol is 36, Ariza is 36, Dwight's 35, Ellington's 33, Bazemore 32, Russ is 32, AD is 28, Nunn is 26, Monk is 23, and THT is 20. Take a look at those numbers. 8 out of your 12 players are above 30. And I think it's pretty obvious, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about this. I think it's obvious what the Lakers are trying to do. They're enticing these players that are older, kind of coming to the end of their excuse me. They're taking these older players that are kind of coming to the end of their time in the NBA, and they're saying like, hey, it's going to be less money for you, but look at all these other players we have on the team. We have LeBron, we have AD, we have Russell Westbrook now. Would you be willing to take a pay cut and maybe get a ring? And I think it's very obvious that's what they're doing. They're getting all these old guys and all these great players that still don't have rings and saying, hey, if you can take a pay cut, you can come play with us, and then you have a good shot at a championship. Which, again, I think you could have gotten Chris Paul the same way. Chris Paul still hasn't won a ring, and he's getting up there. But the condition that I explained earlier is by getting all these players, a lot of people have to take pay cuts. And I think that Chris Paul wouldn't be willing to take that pay cut, and so they couldn't get Chris Paul. If Chris Paul was willing to take a pay cut, though, then get Chris Paul instead, and you're still achieving what I think you're going for, which is convincing these old players they'll get a ring in order to join your team to create a super team. And then, but that's what I wanted to talk about the most with the ages. It's the Lakers are filling their roster with old players that don't have rings, and asking them if they're willing to take pay cuts so they can create basically a super team in order to get a ring. And I think this goes back into the GOAT argument. I think this is further proof that LeBron is not the GOAT, because he's having to get all this, you're putting all this star power on his team, and I still don't think he'll even win a championship this year, even with all those players. That's my honest opinion. The Bulls. So that's all I got for... Actually, no. I have something else for Lakers. Lakers Carmelo and LeBron already have that team chemistry. I think that Carmelo to the Lakers is going to be a great opportunity. However, it could go the opposite way. I think Melo and LeBron are going to be great together. However, because they've been friends since high school. However, Harden and Russell Westbrook also have known each other for a long time, and whenever they were put on a team, they didn't do great together. So we'll just have to see what happens. It could go either way. It could turn into a Harden Westbrook situation, or it could be a great opportunity for both of them. So that's one where we just kind of have to wait and see. The Bulls super team. Let's get into that. The Bulls finished 11th this year in the standings. They finished 11th in their conference. I was trying to find the word. I meant to say they're 11th in their conference. Yes. I think that they could easily go from the 11th in their conference now up to somewhere like the 7th or 8th easily, or maybe even higher than that, because think of who they have now. Let me go to all the free agency moves, and they got DeMar DeRozan now, they got Lonzo Ball now, they got Alex Caruso, Tony Bradley. Yeah. Chicago is slowly becoming another super team. So I think I think they're going to be back in the playoffs. Are they going to be great in the playoffs? That's hard to say. It might be a round 1, round 2 exit. I don't think they're going to make it to. I don't think they're going to win the conference. But I mean, they're now. I think they're going to be easy playoff contenders now, and they'll probably leave round 1 or round 2. And to go along with that, I know they're also investigating Kyle Lowry and Lonzo Ball because their free agency was like so quick. But I mean, and I know this is going to be like a very controversial thing that I say, but they're being investigated for if they were talking about free agency before free agency started. I think that like probably anywhere from 40 to 60% of free agents talk about free agency before you're allowed to. Like, that's one reason that, like, for audio listeners, I'm going to cover my mouth real quick, but it's like, that's one reason why NBA players talk like this sometimes when they have the camera on. It's so they can't, you can't read their lips from the camera. Like, if I do this, you can't tell what I'm saying. Obviously, you can hear it because I have the mic. But if I were to mute my mic, like, you don't know what I'm saying whenever I cover my mouth and I talk like that. But I think it's obvious that a lot of players talk about free agency before free agency, like, is open. And then the 76ers trust the process is kind of falling apart. I'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But it seems like a lot of the players that they acquired through the process, such as Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris, are becoming free agents and might leave. Joel Embiid, not so much this year, but like in the past couple years, he was looking for trades, and it's like your process is falling apart. Everybody that you got through the process is now leaving, and you're going to have to do another process because you're going to need to rebuild again if that happens and everybody leaves. And then Andre Drummond as well, joining the Sixers after the beef with Embiid that they had a little while ago. Let me go ahead and pull up the quotes here. So Andre Drummond said, I mean, you can't really have a conversation with a man who can't play in a back-to-back. And he said that to Joel Embiid back in 2017. And Joel Embiid says, no disrespect, but he can't shoot. Defensively, he can't play any offense. So basically saying, you're a shit player. And then Andre Drummond and Joel Embiid both saying that the other lives in... one lives in the other's head rent-free, et cetera, and now they're teammates. And you look at the look on Joel Embiid's face when Drummond arrives in Philadelphia, and it's like, it's easy to tell that they're gonna have some team chemistry issues. I know there was rumors of Aldridge coming back. I don't have much to talk about that. I don't think Aldridge is coming back. I really don't. I have free agency ratings listed on here. We will talk about that later. Summer League. Let's talk about the Summer League. So let me go to the scores real quick. So yeah, the Spurs have been losing a lot in Summer League, which worries me. But Primo and Vassal have been doing their job, and a lot of people are saying that they're a dynamic duo, and I agree with that. They're scoring efficiently together. They're getting assists. So I'm excited to see what they do in the main league. Or in the main season. Got an ad there. And the Kings as well. We talked about last week how I think this is one of the few years that the Kings didn't fuck up the draft. And I think that is proving to be right because Davion Mitchell is going off. And he's getting some highlight plays with his dunks. Scoring 10 to 20 points every night. Davion Mitchell is going to be who the Kings need to play through, and he's doing an amazing job. And he just needs to keep doing more of what he's been doing. As at the time I'm recording this, the Celtics and the Hawks are playing right now. The Hawks are currently up, but only by 2 points. Knicks Raptors are playing right now as well. Rockets Cavaliers play later tonight. I want to watch that because I want to see how well Evan Mobley does. And let's talk about Cade Cunningham again. So obviously I talked about Cade Cunningham last week. I made a highlight video about it. And it's getting a lot of views. But obviously it's going to have a lot of negative feedback because I said that I don't think that Cade Cunningham is going to do as well as people think. I think he's getting a little bit too high praise. And obviously a lot of people don't like that take. A lot of people, saying that I'm not doing my research and like stuff like that. And as well, there's going to be a lot of bandwagons, of course, in this sport as well that are going to just follow the first round draft pick. But I stand by what I said, and obviously there's going to be people that joke like, "Oh, you don't do your research." I do my research, but just because I do my research doesn't mean I'm going to agree with other announcers you watch. If every single announcer agreed with each other, then it would just be an echo chamber of the same thing being said over and over, and that's not entertaining. I'm going to give my take. If y'all don't agree with it, y'all don't agree with it. But if you go back and watch the video, I didn't say that Cade Cunningham was a bad player. I said he's a great player. I said I said I think it's going to be like a Luka situation, meaning that he's dropping, a high number of points per game, just like Luka. Luka dropped 40 to 50 points every night in the playoffs, but still lost. I think it's going to be the same way with Cade Cunningham in Detroit. I think Cade Cunningham is going to drop a large number of points, but it's still not going to do it for Detroit. And I was making a joke about this with Fernando over text, and I don't know if I said it in the episode, but in case I didn't, I'll say it again. Detroit fans, I'm obviously calling you out here, but Detroit acts like getting Cade Cunningham is the equivalent of winning the championship. I still don't think Detroit is even going to make it to the playoffs this year. I really don't. Y'all got Cade Cunningham now, but let's look at where y'all were last year. Y'all went 20-52. And yeah, you went 20-52. And before the playoffs started, you had a 5-game losing streak. Now you have Cade Cunningham now. You're going to win a lot more games, but are you going to magically jump from 15 to 8 in order to make the playoffs? No, I think it's more possible that you'll probably jump from 15 to 12 or 11, maybe 15 to 10. Maybe you make the play-in tournament, but I still think you're going to be, towards the bottom. Cade Cunningham is not going to be your franchise saving grace that you think he is. And I stand by that, and if y'all don't agree with it, y'all don't agree with it. People were disliking the video, and honestly, I'm okay with that. I accept the criticism. Whatever criticism you got, leave it in the comments, and I'm going to read it. Something I didn't like, and it wasn't y'all. It was, and obviously, I can't talk bad about YouTube because I'm uploading this to YouTube, but I just want y'all to know the situation. Like, some people were leaving comments that were like constructive criticism, and then YouTube was removing it. So I just wanted to make it clear that I wasn't the one that was removing the comments. YouTube sometimes, like, if they see a comment as like hateful or whatever, like YouTube's like what's it called, like automated system like thing, it'll like detect it and delete it, and I can't do anything about it. Like, I personally, again, I accept the criticism. Y'all can leave whatever comments you want. I'm not deleting those comments. That's YouTube deleting those comments. And as a perfect example of that, there's a couple of the highlight vids that I put out. I think it was the birthday video and the not the Evan Mobley video, but like a few other highlight videos that I put out recently, and it said comments were disabled on it. And YouTube didn't tell me why the comments were disabled, and I can't turn the comments back on. So again, that's not me, that's YouTube, and I can't do anything about it. So I just wanted to get that out there and let y'all know. But now that we've talked plenty about teams and stuff like that, I want to go ahead and do my playoff predictions, and I want to do my playoff predictions and award predictions. Rookie of the Year, I think is going to go to Jalen Green. I don't think Cade Cunningham is going to win it. Specifically because of what I just said earlier. I think Jalen Green is going to help the Rockets move up a lot more than Cade Cunningham will help the Pistons move up. As for the playoff we just got an alert. Momo Meow has followed. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. So playoff predictions, I think I'm looking at the conference standings last year, and I'm going to have to kind of remember free agency this year and the drafts to adjust these. But let's start with the West first. The Jazz were number 1 in the conference last year. I think they'll stay somewhere in the top 3. I think the Suns will stay somewhere in the top 3. The Nuggets and the Clippers will battle it out for the last of the top 3 position in the conference. Mavericks, I think, will stay pretty much exactly where they were, either the 4 or the 5 spot. Trailblazers is going to be in 5 or 6, pretty much where they were before. The Lakers will move up. They were 7 last year. I think they'll be 5 or 6. The Spurs were number 10. I think they'll move up a few spots. Probably, they're going to be anywhere from 8, 9, 10. But I don't know where. They could stay at 10. They could move up to 8. They could move up to 9. The Kings are going to move up. The Kings are either going to take the 10 spot from the Spurs if the Spurs move up, or they'll move up to 11. The Rockets are going to skyrocket up. The Rockets were last place in the conference last year because they were doing this small ball rebuild. I think they're going to skyrocket from 15 to probably 8 or 9, either clinch a playoff or clinch a play-in. And that's what I got for the Western Conference. Excuse me. Eastern Conference, Pistons, I think, is kind of the same thing as the Rockets. I think the Pistons will jump up from 15 probably to 11 or 10, so maybe making a play-in. Wizards are going to drop tremendously down. Wizards will probably go from 8 to probably about 11. The Celtics will probably stay where they are. The Bulls will jump up from 11 to clinch a playoff spot for sure. So probably 6, 7, or 8. The Hawks, I think, will move up above the Knicks. So they're at 5 right now with the Knicks at 4. I think the Hawks will move to 4. The Knicks will drop down. The Bucks will probably stay where they're at right now with the Bucks at 3. The Nets are at 2. I think the Nets will move up to 1. That's pretty obvious. And the 76ers are at 1. They'll probably move down to 2 or 3. That's my prediction. Hey guys, Future Nate here. So I'm editing the episode that you're watching or listening to right now, and I realized that I really want to edit what I said about the conference order. So I'm just going to rapid fire it and say that I think the order of the Western Conference is going to be any variation of Jazz, Suns, Clippers, top 3 in any order. Then Lakers, then Mavs, Nuggets, Trailblazers, Warriors, then probably Spurs, Kings, Grizzlies, and then skip that. It's going to be Jazz, Suns, Clippers, somewhere in the top 3. Um, then I think Mavs are going to be 4. Lakers will probably be 5 or take the 4 from the Clippers. Trailblazers will move down a little bit. They'll probably move to 7 or 8. The Warriors will move up to 7 or 8, or to 6, where the Trailblazers were. The Spurs will move from 10 to either 8 or 9. The Kings will move from 12 to probably 10. Pelicans will move down. Rockets will move up to either 9 or 10 for the play-in, or maybe clinch a playoff position at 8. Thunder will probably move from 14 up to 12, where the Kings were, and the Timberwolves and the Pelicans will move down to the 14 and 15. For Eastern Conference, I kind of want to stick with what I said earlier. 76ers will move down. Nets will take number 1. Bucks will probably move from 3 to 2 or stay at 3. Hawks will move from 5 to 4. Knicks will move down. Heat will move up from the 6 to either the 4 or the 5. Celtics will probably stay exactly where they are now. Wizards will move down. Pacers will probably stay where they're at. Hornets will move down. Bulls will move up to 7 or 8, clinch the playoff spot. Raptors will probably stay kind of where they're at, maybe move around somewhere in the 11 to 15. Pistons will move up to where the Pacers or Hornets are to get the play-in. I don't think they're going to make it to the playoffs. Cavaliers stay where they are, and Magic will kind of stay where they are. Cavaliers and Magic can and Raptors can move anywhere from that 12, 13, and 14 that they were last year, either up or down, but still below the play-in. So anywhere from the 11 to 15 spot is what I'm going with. As for playoffs, so what is it I said? I said the Rockets get a play-in, right? So Suns are gonna be in the playoffs. Jazz are gonna be in the playoffs. Nuggets in the playoffs. Clippers, Mavs, Lakers. Pretty much the same exact teams as last year, except I think the Grizzlies will move down and the Spurs or the Kings will move up. The Warriors will probably take the 7 or 8 spot to get the playoff, and then the Spurs Kings will probably do play in. I don't know who's going to take the Western Conference. The Western Conference is always the most difficult conference, in my opinion. Like, through history, like, the West has always been, like, the most difficult. West is up for grabs. I'm just going to leave it at that. I won't name a team right now. I'll wait until next week to say Western Conference Finals. Eastern Conference is going to be between the Nets and the Bucks, just like it was this year. It's going to be between the Nets and the Bucks. And then Eastern Conference, if the Nets win the Eastern Conference, they'll win the finals. If the Bucks win the Eastern Conference, it's 50-50. Kind of like it was this year. And again, I don't know who they're going to face in the Western Conference, so it's hard to make a prediction about that. So I'll finalize my playoff predictions next week. USA wins gold in the Olympics. So I said that the U.S. had a great coach with Popovich and Steve Kerr. They had Cade. They had Jason Tatum, and people started getting worried in the exhibitions, and exactly what I said was going to happen happened, in which they were waiting to hold their energy, or they were saving their energy until the elimination came. The elimination came, they went off. I was watching the games, and Jason Tatum was doing exactly in the Olympics exactly what he does in the NBA, which is just putting up threes nonstop. Um, so I mean, I don't know why some people are surprised by it. Um, USA, uh, if USA didn't win the gold, then it would have been either Australia or uh, Luca. Luca, unfortunately, didn't end up getting a medal um, because they were knocked out. But it was only by 1 point. It was like 90-89, I think. So Luca was very close to pretty much single-handedly getting his country a medal. So I think next year, or not next year, because the Olympics is every 4 years. Um, but a lot can happen in 4 years. We'll have to see like who's drafted and everything like that. But Luka had a really good shot this Olympics, and a lot can happen in 4 years. So I don't want to say like, oh, Luka's got a good shot next Olympics, but I think if he does what he did this Olympics, um, he'll still be in top 5 like he was this year. I think it's fair to say. So the last little bit of stuff here, a lot of statues and like award type stuff going around. As you can see, it's on the bottom right there. Kyle Lowry is getting a statue in Toronto, the mayor said, and they are also going to retire Kyle Lowry's jersey whenever Kyle Lowry retires. I think it's very deserving. I think if you do that for Kyle Lowry, though, you should do the same for Fred VanVleet. Not the statue, but the jersey retiring. The statue, I think he's deserving of it. He brought his team along with Kawhi, the very first championship that team has ever had. And technically the first international championship of the NBA as well, since Toronto is the only team that is outside of the U.S. But along with that, people were also comparing it to Giannis as well. They were saying, should Giannis get a statue in Milwaukee and retiring Giannis's jersey? Giannis is obviously very young right now. He's only 26, so he's got a lot of time still in the NBA. But I think y'all should. I think Milwaukee should retire his jersey whenever Giannis retires, and the statue. We'll have to see where he goes. He's in Milwaukee until 2025 because he's on a 5-year extension. But even then, he's only going to be 31, so he'll still have a lot of time to play afterwards, and he'll have, we'll have to see where he goes after that. But depending on what he does in those 5 years while he's still in Milwaukee, I think he's got a great chance at winning some more awards like he has the past couple of years, and then getting that statue in Milwaukee and getting his jersey retired. And they're also not only in Milwaukee, but obviously in Greece, they are making a lot of murals about him and making what's the word? They're making like murals and dedications to him and stuff like that. And I want to visit Greece for some of that. And Giannis also took his trophies to Greece as well, kind of recognizing them like that's where he came from and everything like that. So I think that's really great. And that's really all I have for that. So basically just kind of summarizing everything I said in the podcast. Spurs losing all their stars. but they got some big guys. Lakers, Russ, I don't think is a great fit, and it's a lot of old guys that are looking for rings. Bulls are going to be back in the playoffs this year, and Cade Cunningham I don't think is going to work out that great for Detroit. Or he's going to be a great player, but he's not going to propel Detroit to where they want to be. And that's pretty much it. The last thing I have on here, I haven't created it yet, but it's coming in the future. Hopefully, is I'm going to start a Patreon if y'all want to go ahead and support me there. I'm still thinking of ideas for different tiers and things like that. So we'll have to see what happens. But one of the things on there will be early access as well. So if I do early access, then these episodes won't be streamed live on Twitch anymore, because I mean, if I streamed them live on Twitch, then there's not really a point in having early access, because then you could just go watch the VOD on Twitch or watch it live on Twitch whenever it happens. So instead I would have to record it and then edit it and then put it on Patreon for early access and then put it on YouTube. So it wouldn't, if whenever I do that, if I made early access a thing, it won't be live on Twitch anymore, just so you know, guys. But I'm still gonna be like playing games and stuff like that on here on Twitch. Excuse me. So if you already follow me, like, I'm gonna be playing stuff like 2K and Call of Duty, Final Fantasy, like all that stuff, here on the Twitch channel. So, and I'll talk more about the Patreon tiers after I actually make it, but like, I think it'll probably be something like, first tier is early access, and get your name, get recognition for supporting me. Oh, excuse me, guys, I've been coughing like crazy. I don't have COVID. Before people start making jokes, there's just a lot of pollen and mold and stuff like that because it's been raining. It'll probably be like low tier is early access and your name recognized for supporting me. Mid tier will be March Madness. You get to play in the March Madness bracket with me and some other fans of the channel, as well as fantasy basketball if y'all are interested in that. And there'll be some other stuff for that tier. And then the big tier, I'm still trying to think of what the highest tier will be. Probably a lot of stuff having to do with the Discord. Like, y'all get to sit down and talk with me in the Discord or something. As well as there'll probably be like a Google form that y'all fill out, and I'll make a fake NBA team for y'all. So what I kind of mean by that is I'll put it, people that are watching live, y'all can't see it, and audio listeners, y'all can't see it, but people that are watching the video on YouTube, put it right here. So I've been working on this basketball simulator because I do computer science. Basically, it takes a bunch of stats from different players, and it creates a box score as well as an animation of what the game would look like. It's kind of like if you're playing 2K My Team, and then you like sim to the end. It's kind of like that. But basically, along with that, I've been making like these logos and stuff like that for these fake teams, which I think is really interesting. So I'll show you the one that I made for my team. I call it the Tokyo Tailed Beast. Obviously a reference to Naruto that I watch. And then I asked some of my my YouTube friends for some ideas so I could make those for them, so I would have better examples to show y'all. So here's Old Guy Vibes. because he does Victorian stuff, and he lives in Maine. I made it the Augusta Dandies. Dandies kind of like a slang term for like rich, well dressed people. So it goes with like his Victorian thing. And then regular 720, who is here on Twitch as well. I made the New Braunfels Krakens because we have the Two Rivers, and me and him are both from the New Braunfels area. And just stuff like that. Like I make these like kind of logos because I'm into graphic design as well. And then I also, what I do is after I make these logos, I basically do a draft just like fantasy basketball with ESPN, where each of the players in the NBA are assigned to a team and a contract, and then it takes those players' stats, averages out their minutes played and what they do with their minutes played, and generates a box score. And then, um, yeah, and then we'll probably, if we do something with that, since it does generate a box score, I guess we could keep a tally of like who's winning the league, and whoever wins at the end. I guess if I have enough followers on Twitch, I'll probably like gift subs to whoever wins the basketball simulator league, and if my team wins or any of like the actual NBA teams win, like the Miami Heat or the Milwaukee Bucks or anything like that that are already like not a fake team, then I'll just give subs to like myself or something. Um, and yeah, but in order to do that, I would have to be affiliate first on Twitch, which you need 50 followers, and I think I'm on like 22 right now. So we would need more followers first. But that's just kind of an idea. Is like, it would be this basketball simulator with all our fake teams, uh, and then afterwards, something would happen with whoever won. But again, I'm still kind of coming up with ideas right now. Um, and yeah, they'll probably next week there'll be a Patreon. So if y'all want to support me there, then y'all can. Hey guys, so I know I already wrapped up the episode, but this is future me after editing. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Patreon. So I'll make a whole video on this when the Patreon is made, and I'll talk about it in Nathan Burnett episode 11. But the Patreon will probably be like $1, $5, $10, $25 or something, and each of those will obviously be something different, much like most Patreons for YouTubers are. And $1 will be early access, pretty basic stuff. And with early access, I can't stream on Twitch anymore because then that defeats the purpose of early access. $5 will be uh, March Madness and fantasy basketball, playing with other patrons and myself, and like other YouTubers that are involved in that, like Fernando, like people that I know that are going to play it. The $10 one, I don't know what the $10 one will be, but it'll probably be something like AMA, or like AMA, or just chilling with me in Discord, like once a month or once a week, and maybe like live reactions to games. Like you can join like a live stream with me for only the Patreons, where like we sit down and we watch a game virtually together, live. And then the highest one, it'll probably be like 25 or something, will be like all that, and then some other stuff that I'll have to think of for the high tier, as well as you submit you basically fill out this Google sheet like I was talking about earlier. You say a city, um, and your mascot, and I make a fake team for you, and then we'll throw you in the basketball simulator, and then as well, once I get done with the basketball simulator, I might make a draft simulator similar to the fantasy basketball, where basically you get a random number for how much you can sign people for contracts, um, like how much your team is worth, and then you can divide that up amongst your players. Like this player gets 1 year for 50 million, or like Giannis, you get 5 years for like 250 million and stuff like that. And then you're like a GM for your fake team, and you have these players, and then that goes into the basketball simulator with the players you chose and who you signed, and then every year it will update. But if you spent X amount of money for um, a player to stay like 4 years, then in real time, um, whenever like next year, if this is still going on, whenever we do like drafts for your fake team again, you will still have that player because you signed them to X contract amount for X years, kind of thing. Um, so it's like it's kind of like 2K My League in a way, but it's like, as a community and stuff like that, and like there'll be duplicate players as well, obviously, because we're gonna have the real teams in there. If we get enough people, we'll do only fake teams. But if we only have like a handful, like 4 fake teams, we'll have the real teams in there. But if we have something like 30 to 40 fake teams, then we'll just do the fake teams. But while we have the real teams in there, they'll obviously like be duplicate players. Like you'll have the Giannis on the Bucks, and then if you get Giannis, you'll have the Giannis on your team as well, and Giannis on the Bucks, if that makes sense. But again, I'll explain this more when the Patreon's actually finalized, because then all the stuff that's kind of up in the air will be like decided on. So I also had like down at the bottom, I had merch written along with Patreon. Basically, obviously we're only on like a little bit over 100 subscribers, so merch is like super far into the future. But merch would probably happen like around 2.5k subs, if we get to that point. And I already have some ideas drawn up, and Fernando wants to try and draw some up as well. But along with that, whenever the time comes, I'm thinking of doing sort of like a merch competition, like in the Discord, where like maybe we have some artists that watch the podcast, and like y'all can like come up with some designs for the merch, and then um, I would choose like ones that I like, and then y'all would get a prize as well. And then if I really like it, maybe y'all could design like future merch and stuff like that, whoever wins. um, but that's all I got for talking about merch, because obviously it's very, very far in the future. But I just want to let you guys know like some ideas that I'm coming up with, so you know what may be coming. So, and I know this was kind of like a minor episode. Like I didn't go in depth I didn't go as in depth as I usually do with some of my takes. But the reason for that, again, is like I'm kind of putting it off till next week because free agency just started. And so I want to see if more free agency moves happen, and then next week I can like go into all the free agency stuff, because that's going to be the big thing. Detroit and the Rockets and the Cavaliers and like all of them are playing tonight, so I can talk about that next week. Talk about summer league more in depth, all that kind of stuff next week. So with that being said, Nathan Burnett, episode 10. We hit double digits. Excited to keep going with this podcast, guys, and I hope y'all will support me. Share the video wherever y'all listen or watch it. Share my Twitch, share my YouTube. Follow me on Instagram at Nathan Burnett _podcast. Easy Gingy on Twitch, Gingy with 3 Y's on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. Be sure to share it around. That really helps me out. I know it's a cliche to say, but and I've already said see y'all guys 3 times probably already, but this time for real. See you guys in the next one. That's Nathan Burnett, episode 10.